Everyone, my name is Dimitris Kyriakou, and this is a tutorial on how to add questions, random questions to a quiz, to a Moodle quiz. In my previous tutorials, I have demonstrated how we create a quiz, how do we add categories, how do we add various types of questions, including multiple choice, true, false, matching, missing words, short answer, essay, and drag and drop type of questions. And I have also demonstrated how we can add them in a fixed way, in fixed order, in a sample, in a version of a mock exam, in order to preview it and have it run with our students. So what I'm going to do in this tutorial is demonstrate how we can create a test with random questions generated for every student. So I'm going to go to add an activity or resource, and I'm going to add once more time a quiz. Click add, and I'm going to have it as mock exam B2. All right, because I already had a mock exam B1 in the previous one. This is a mock exam with random questions assigned to each student. All right, I'm going to display that so I can see it. Now, timing, as before, we need to set it up when should it start and when should it close. Based on the instructions that we have, some students are allowed to have extra time. Therefore, in my next tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how do we address people with extra time allowed. For now, I'm going to leave it open because I want to demonstrate it to you. So grade, nothing there. Layouts, nothing there. Question behavior, we want that. Review options, we want to uncheck all of them. From the bottom up. And as I have demonstrated in my first tutorial, those, although you cannot eliminate them now, if I go and save it and then come back to it, that will be not shown. Let me first hide it so my students don't see it and they think it's an exam for them right now. So if I go back to edit settings, you will see that the review options are all disabled. All right, I don't know why that's the case, but this is how it's done. Appearance, nothing to do there. Extra restrictions, yeah, we have something here. So it's H123 set as a password. Show more. I'm using full screen pop-up with some JavaScript security. I have demonstrated that in my previous tutorial. This is for eliminating this part right here. So when students go through the test, they have the whole width of the screen available. Overall feedback, we leave it as it is, nothing there. Restrict access, I will demonstrate that in my next tutorial, how to allow users, students with extra time allowed to see their own version of the test and not the other students' tests. Okay, nothing here, just save and return to course. Again, my first tutorial goes slower, explains step by step how you set up an exam properly. So I'm going to click on it now and I will assign questions to it. So edit quiz. And now, instead of come here, it says add, saying from a question bag, which I have demonstrated before, you have to use a random question. This is real. This is what you have to do for the exam. So I'm getting first, my first category, part A questions, which I have created and I have shown you before how to create them. And I'm just going to say I want 3 of these to be shown to every student randomly. Number of random questions. So usually it's, you know, at least you have 50%. This is what EUC instructs. So if I have 3 per student, it's good to have at least 6 created. add random question. Bam. This is going to be added into the test. There you are. So I can say here, part A, questions. You may want to have a heading, you may not have a heading, depends what you want. Now, I need random questions from part B as well. So I'm going to click there, add a random question once again. So I'm going to append to the current set of questions. I'm going to go there to part B questions, which is my second category, and includes my elaboration type of questions, shorthanded and essay type. These are shown in my previous tutorial, and I want two of these. Randomly selected for every student. Add random question. All right, you also want to shuffle them so you have different order if the generated random question is the same for two students. Between part A and part B, I'm going to come and add a heading, same thing as we have done before. And I'm going to say here, these are part B questions. We also need part C. So I'm going over there, let's append the test with random question. So I'm not going to go to my part C. I have 3, so I'm only going to generate 1 for every student. That's up to you. Add random question. So this is added, and you can see that over here, I need to add a section heading once again to separate the sections. If you want to have headings, you may not want to have headings, so students don't have another way of reducing the probability. Like if I know my part C questions are those, then if anybody's trying to help me, they're going to go to that section and what questions they have. So if we eliminate the headings, they get 6 questions and they don't know which one is which part. Okay, if it makes sense. So you enable shuffling as well. And that's it. Right, total of the test maximum grade is 6 in this case. Let me save it. And let's go and see it. So going back to the front screen. And if I go down to mock exam version 2, I click on it and I can start the quiz now. So let's see. What's the password? We are providing it via the chat at the time of the exam, and there you have it. Okay, so you get different presentation here than before because 3, 4, and 5 is from part B and 1 question from part C. So this is my part A. So I get the true-false question. If I go to my second one, I'll see I get the checkboxes question. If I go to my third one, I get my drop-down list question. Okay, we start a new preview so we can see if it's actually random. So this is only us, right? The students cannot start a new preview. So if I go through it again, there you go. That's my question 1. I now get the checkboxes. If I go to question 2, I get the one that was question 3 before. And if I get question 3, I get a different one. I didn't have that before. The more, the merrier. And even those that they are the same, the order changes. It also shuffles the options inside the question. So if I have 30 and I tell them, random 3, the probability false of 2 students get the same question. I tested this out today. Out of the 6 questions that I gave them, the maximum number of questions that they were the same as mine were 3. So the worst case scenario today, I had 13 students in my class, 6 questions, I only had one, so having 3 common questions in the totality of all the tests, which is very good, 50%. Now, same thing as before, they go through it, that's going next, they're coming back to previews. So I encourage you to see the previous tutorial if you want to see how this works. Let me get through this very quickly. So if I make a selection here, whatever, doesn't have to be correct. Once I go next page, this is saying that I have answered it. And if I go back to it, my answers are there. If the student wants to come back to it, like a note to itself, flag question will add this red signal at the top of the question, so they can come back to it anytime they want. They can jump to a question using the navigation here. All right, so blah, blah, blah. And if they go previous page, it also saves their work. You don't need to go next page every time. But they do need to click next or previous for their work to be saved. It's important. The connection is lost. If they click and exit the page, when they come back, their work will be saved. I've tried it. So if they've clicked next or previous, if they've clicked next or previous, so encourage them to click. Don't jump from here. Let's ask them to go step by. So let me see, if I go to first one, I know that and that. If I jump to another question, yeah, that also works. That also works. So next, previous, or jumping through the navigation there will work on saving their answer. So randomness, if I start a new preview, you will see that it's random. I have given to my students today this as well. I've taken them version 1, a structured set of questions. Everybody was going together. They were following me. Then I gave them a second version, this one that I'm demonstrating now, where it was random, and I explained to them that this is what you see from my part. Do you see the same thing? And they responded, no, I see different questions. Well, this is what's going to happen in the test. And then I said, who can see the same question as me? If a student said yes, I was asking them, do you see the same order of answers? And the answer was no. So they were convinced that the randomness of the question and randomness of the answers is actually true. We are not, saying that to them. This is what will happen. So I gave them a second version of the mock exam. So I went through a structured one and then a second random version of the mock exam in order to give them proper understanding. First one was going through all the types of the questions I have prepared. The second one was demonstrating the randomness. So if they go ahead and finish the attempt, they can see the summary there. They can return back to anyone if they just click the question there. All right, then just go next page, and on the 6th one, you can see once you go to the last question, get finish attempt. So once I click on that and I proceed and say submit all and finish, you get the confirmation here and it says submit all and finish. There's no way going back. You can see your answers, but there's no editing going on anymore. So I just pointed that out to them because they were a little bit confused. So why are we seeing this again? It's like a review. Just click finish review and it's okay. There's no way you can reattempt the quiz. You can do it now because I haven't set it to not. But as we have seen from the previous video, only one attempt is allowed. Actually, let me go into edit settings. Let me demonstrate it properly. So this is the how many attempts. I think it's in the Yeah, here, show more. Nope, let me find the option, sorry. There, under grade. Attempts allowed, I have unlimited. So I need to switch that to 1. Therefore, only one time can be attempted. I've demonstrated that in my first tutorial. If you want to have a look there, so save and return to course, you have that. The one thing I want to demonstrate as well, let me go to my, so I had my mock exam today with my CSW 441. Let me demonstrate that once students go through it, how do we see the results? Although I think Lucas and Miltiades will prepare a tutorial for us. So it's here, you go more. But before we do that, let me demonstrate something else. Once students go through their test, there's no changing it. There is no changing it. There you have it. So if I go on the test, on the first one, and I say edit quiz, see, I have 12 attempts on it. Edit quiz, it says here, you cannot add or remove questions because the quiz has been attempted. Okay, so I cannot come here and add more questions. I cannot do it. I cannot add shuffle afterwards. Let's see. I think this, yeah, that you can change. But adding more questions cannot be done once an attempt has been made for obvious reasons. So if I go back and use the gear button right here to navigate to more, the option for seeing the results is, no, that's something else. I'm sorry. I'm going to go to the front end again. Sorry. So the answer is here. You go to the test. Over here. Results. So in there, you can see attempts 12. What do you want to see? I want to see everybody that have attempted the quiz. So if I click the show report, it will show all of my students taking the test. See that? And what is their answers. So if I review a sample attempt as Christos, so Christos took 27 minutes and 4 seconds. He got that marks, 21%. This is what he answered. The correct answers, the wrong answers, the incomplete answers, not attempted answers, questions. This is what he answered. You can see, like in this case, what's the capital of Cyprus? Christos gave this answer. Your answer is correct. And you can make a comment. Very good. And if you want, you can overwrite the mark. In this case, we don't want to overwrite the mark. So in cases of elaboration, like for example, one, explain the process of preparing a cup of coffee. Very good effort. You should have had elaborated bit more on the temperature of the coffee before served. I'm going to give him 2 out of 5. Again, this will be shown to us, will be explained to us. We should save there. But just demonstrating that this is where it is. It's very easy for us to mark it as well. There's my comments right there. And the mark. Okay, that concludes my tutorial for how to create a quiz with random questions. With random questions that they're shuffled and the answers are also shuffled inside the questions. Also, I have demonstrated where we go to find the results and also explained that once an attempt is made, there is no editing or changing the test. Very much.